Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Switched On. I'm your host Ben Lamoreux and we actually have a very special episode planned for you guys this week. Recently we've been trying to get a lot of newcomers on the show as guests, but this week we're bringing back some familiar voices. It's a Nintendo Week reunion show. So welcome back to the show, Alex.
I'm rejoining the battle.
And welcome back, Colin.
Me too!
As usual, we're going to break down a lot of the exciting Nintendo news from the past couple of weeks, and then after that, a little later, we're going to jump into a discussion segment, because a little game called Super Smash Bros. Ultimate released recently.
It's a little
It did.
ultimate.
It's pretty ultimate.
Yeah, it lives up to the name.
Makes sense, but yeah!
Ultimate out of 10.
So we'll gush about that a little later. But for now, let's go ahead and jump into the news segment. So first up, if you pay attention to like a lot of YouTube channels and stuff, you probably know that Nintendo hasn't exactly been in the best graces of YouTube content creators in recent years because of the controversial Nintendo Creators Program, which for those not familiar, basically if you want to upload any Nintendo content, you have to enter into an agreement with Nintendo and receive like a air quotes license to do so, and then they take like I think 30% of the profits, something like that, and you can only upload footage from like games that they approved and so on and so forth. But they finally decided to get rid of that recently, so it'll be gone by the end of the year.
Yeah, good. I remember us bagging on this back like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't make sense then, doesn't make sense now. YouTubers get cents on the view, so I mean, it's a 40% revenue split, and that's just too much. That's bad.
Yeah, it was obnoxious that it existed in the first place. It was obnoxious that they were expecting to take a giant chunk of your revenue. But the thing that
when it wouldn't even be dimes compared to the money that Nintendo has.
Right, like they don't need the money. But the thing that I'm happiest for actually is just that it's going to make it easier for people to do this, because without those, they had very onerous restrictions on certain games, like Super Smash Brothers. I think was kind of tricky to get approval for.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and that's just kind of cutting down your reach too, because so many developers have kind of cut back a little bit on advertising just because they know they can get more views by just giving a copy of their game to a well-known YouTube streamer or Twitch streamer or whatever, and letting them sort of be the hype man. But Nintendo instead was like restricting people from giving them essentially free advertising.
Yeah, it's like personalized ads. You just don't have to pay Facebook or Google for tons of data.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a nice step from Nintendo, especially since they haven't exactly been the most consumer-friendly recently with some of their choices, like a really expensive like dock and controllers and things like that. There was a while back there was like a former Nintendo executive who accused them of only caring about the money now or whatever. So this is just a nice community-friendly move by them and a step
Was
in
that
the right direction.
the Russian president?
No, not him.
Ousted.
Yeah.
What did he do again?
Well, a lot of things. He was accused of all kinds of stuff, but the sort of straw that broke the camel's back was that he was just like yelling and berating employees and swearing on a live stream last year.
Oh, good!
Yeah, and for whatever reason, the story didn't blow up last year, but someone posted footage of it again like a month ago or whatever, and Nintendo finally commented and was like, yeah, we'll investigate this guy. So I haven't actually heard if he was ousted. I know he stopped showing up to public events, but I haven't heard any official news of him being fired yet.
Yeah, it's hard to say whether we even would hear of it.
Probably not, honestly.
Yeah, they might just, one day quietly, like, put in an investor's report or something that there's a new CEO. All right, so moving on, we got quite a bit of Pokemon Go news recently and a little more Pokemon news outside of that. The big thing is that Pokemon Go, after 2.5 years, finally added trainer battles. Have either of you guys had a chance to mess around with those yet?
No.
I gave one battle a try when one of my buddies, who I'm Pokemon Go best friends with, came over the weekend. That was all right. Like, it's basically the same thing as gym battles, just with a little couple extra tweaks.
That's kind of about what I expected.
Yeah. I sort of gave up on all the depth that was involved in the gym battles and just kept tapping my phone anyway. So yeah, it's basically what I was doing here.
I feel like it's because of the lag, and this must, I imagine, be true of trainer battles as well. In the gym battles, I wouldn't even swipe left or right to try to dodge attacks unless I could really know that I was going to get it.
Unless you see a really cute Pokemon, then you might swipe right.
But I Also, the thing about trainer battles. So right now, I'm in my last year of college, and right now I'm back at home for winter break, and so no one is around.
Yeah.
Anyone I know is in LA. Then you have to be ultra friends or something to be able to battle that, over long distances. Plus, I mean, when I say everyone I know playing Pokemon Go, I mean, that's still like 2 people anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest about that.
Yeah, that's a big thing, too, is like you said, unless you're ultra friends with someone, you have to be physically standing right next to them to battle them.
Right.
And so for an update like that to drop in the winter isn't exactly the best timing. So, because I haven't played in a while because it's winter, and, that was like, I'd go for long walks at night playing Pokemon Go, but
Right.
if I do that now, I get frostbite, so...
I hadn't even thought of that.
The timing of when they introduced the ability to gift stuff to people and boost up your friendship, wasn't that long ago. So I don't know that, unless you've been playing every day since that feature was dropped, I don't know that you'd even have a lot of ultra
No, it was a while ago. It's longer than you think.
Okay.
It's been at least a year, I think.
Oh, has it? Wow.
I have one ultra friend, but the battles just don't seem that appealing to me anyway.
Yeah,
So.
It's not worth the hype.
Yeah,
Certainly
and early
not 2
on,
years after launch.
a lot of people have been reporting, like you said, lag, and then other problems. I guess some people, they start the battle and there's just like no attack button, like they tap the screen and nothing happens. So,
Oh, jeez.
Oh, good.
yeah, sounds like
love
there's
it when games don't
some
work.
kinks to work out still.
Well, I think still the most exciting part of Pokemon Go is walking around and catching stuff, swiping, hatching eggs. Now that they've got Adventure Sync, I've been using it a lot more.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And also now that you can transfer into Pokemon Let's Go, I cleared a ton of space in my PC. So it's been more fun for those reasons, that I originally liked the game again anyway. So
Yeah, that's true. So, despite the occasional missteps here with battles and things like that, Niantic is making a ton of money. So they recently held like another round of investing, and reportedly they raised another $200 million. And now analysts are saying that their market cap is somewhere around $3.9 billion, which is a fancy way of saying that they are rich. They're now actually worth more than Sega, Capcom, and Square Enix, which are brands that have been around for decades and make these huge like AAA RPGs with $50 million budgets. So that is nuts for a company that's just made a few little mobile games.
I feel like that's happened before, though, hasn't it? I mean, with King and Rovio, I feel like mobile companies pop up and explode and kind of wither over a longer period of time.
Yeah, if you can
I
get
feel like
that
relatively
$1 billion
frequently.
app,
Well, we're now in the era
I
where
admit I'm not the most informed on this, but
we're in an era now where Japanese gaming companies just aren't exciting anymore, except for when they're really successful in mobile. So it doesn't surprise me that they're worth more than Sega and Capcom, who do stuff in mobile, but I don't feel like it's really that big. I am a little surprised that they're valued higher than Square. I don't actually know how high Square is valued, but it seems like they have a pretty diversified gaming business at this point. Like they do have a lot of mobile stuff, and it is pretty lucrative, and they also make money sometimes on their big AAA console games.
Sometimes.
So,
didn't they just merge with a company called Enix?
Yeah,
I think they're
A little
like
while
in
ago.
serious financial trouble.
yeah.
Yeah, I think Square, they have such long development cycles that even when a game sells 10 million, I'm sure it's hard to break even.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, AAA game development is also not exactly lucrative.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless you're a Call of Duty maker or a
Right, it's very
Or a Rockstar.
it's very tiered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a risk every
A
time you
lot
make
of
that investment.
a lot of AAA games, don't make the money back.
So, like you said, though, a lot of the times, these mobile developers, they'll have a big hit, but then if they can't follow it up, they sort of wither and die. But, Niantic, they've got that Harry Potter game coming out, too, which sounds like it's just going to be Pokemon Go with like, wizards, I guess. So, they're kind of hoping to extend that success and to be the one that bucks the trend and doesn't just be the one-hit wonder.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical that that'll happen just because what made Pokemon Go successful was that the IP was just a really good match for the location services element.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that working the same way for Harry Potter or any of the other clones that we've seen.
All right, so moving on to other Pokemon news. We didn't get a full trailer yet, but we got the announcement that the next Pokemon movie is set to hit Japanese theaters in July of 2019. So no international release date yet. Usually it's a few months later, maybe towards the end of the year. But from everything we're hearing about it, it's called Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. So it kind of sounds like it's going to be a sort of remake or reboot of the original Pokemon movie.
Yeah, so I don't know what the premise for that would be. Like, is it just going to be a straight remake of it? Like, what's the
Could
hook?
be a sequel, a C-make. It sounds like almost a 1.5. I imagine they would have a lot of like familiar scenes and moments from Mewtwo Strikes Back, maybe in like flashbacks or things, or just remade in a similar way to the way that they sort of remade the first episode of Pokemon with that recent movie.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, like a follow-up to that, which I haven't seen that
I think it's
one,
pretty much that kind of thing. And so plot-wise, I imagine it's just going to take another look at the Mewtwo story.
We still need that scene of the two Pikachus crying and slapping each other, though.
All the feels.
We'll have that GIF in HD.
Yes.
Finally. Yeah, I saw some speculation that maybe this is going to be like a CGI remake, and that would be the evolution part.
Oh.
I don't know if there's anything really to that.
But,
I mean, that could potentially explain why they've teased it twice but haven't shown any kind of imagery or footage or anything from it, but it'd be a bit of a leap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and coming out next July, I feel like they would have been building this sort of in conjunction with Detective Pikachu if they were planning on like a big CGI movie for this. And, well, actually, Detective Pikachu is next year, too.
Yeah.
It is.
But it does seem like a big endeavor to have two movie studios using two live-action Pokemon engines. I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah, you'd think they'd want to test the waters with Pikachu first before sort of expanding that.
Yeah, because that's expensive.
All right, so the last Pokemon story we have today is actually a story that I think has gone sort of criminally unreported. No one's really talking about this. So I saw a couple people cover the first half of this story, and that is that the Pokemon Company put out a LinkedIn recruitment ad to get people to make a new Pokemon mobile game. No details really shared, other than that they use the word fun in like every other sentence. Like, we want to have fun developers in our fun work environment who can make fun games.
Cool, sounds fun.
Yeah, right? But I scrolled down the bottom of the LinkedIn page, and a detail that I haven't seen anyone else report on is that there is currently one person listed as attached to the project, and it is the guy who was the director of Magic Arena for 5 years. So that's actually that's a pretty big thing, and it's got me wondering, is there like a new iteration of the Pokemon trading card game in the works maybe?
Yeah, so for listeners who don't know, Magic Arena is like a PC version of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
So I think the Pokemon Company like snatched this guy up, right?
I'm not completely sure. I haven't really found too much information on him after Magic, but yeah, he's definitely working on the project. I don't know if he's a full-time employee there or not.
If that is the case, then it
The story says Davidson has been at the Pokemon Company since last July after previously working at Wizards of the Coast. Also, you wrote this story.
It was a while ago, all right. I write a lot of stories.
A lot has happened since then.
Right, but that still doesn't... What I wonder, though, is it contracted work, or is he actually, like, there?
Right.
So I'm not sure the details of his contract, but...
Either way, I mean, if this is a Pokemon TCG game... that would be great. I loved the one on Game Boy Color, and it was criminally underrated. The music, every song bopped. And, I mean, getting something like that on a phone with cool background music, be able to play Pokemon cards with your friends, I can imagine that being really, really fun.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think, at least personally, because so much of that excitement comes from the Game Boy Color version of the TCG as opposed to actually playing the trading card game, if they take a more traditional sort of tabletop aesthetic approach as opposed to the one that was really more styled after the Pokemon games on Game Boy Color, it'll probably lose me then. But
yeah, this is making me curious to see what the Pokemon trading card game scene is even like nowadays, because I know Magic's just always been kind of strong. I don't know what the average persona of a Pokemon TCG player is nowadays. Like, are they going to be the kind of person who would be an avid like participant in a digital version? Are they just, is it mostly kids? Like, I just don't know.
I feel like this would be more of a draw to kind of like the Hearthstone crowd, have the game open in another tab while you do homework or, something like that.
I see. I'm so outside of that universe at this point that like, yeah, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, my main hope is just that if it is another iteration of the trading card game, that it comes to Switch as well as mobile, because,
Yes.
I want everything on Switch, so...
And it's also, there are a lot of mobile games that do get ported to Switch, so, I mean, it's going to be entirely touchscreen controls, and I would imagine it would be pretty easy to do. I guess the only question is how they would reformat it to, fit the 16:9 horizontal screen, as opposed to the vertical screen on a phone, but honestly, you could always just tilt your Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so as you guys probably saw at the Game Awards, Joker is coming to Super Smash Bros., and we'll talk about that a little more later. Joker from Persona 5, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batman.
Not just the Joker from DC Comics, but...
All the
that would have
Jokers.
been a bigger surprise.
That would have been a huge surprise. And since then, there's been kind of rumors swirling around that Persona 5 itself is also coming to Switch, which, I think would make a lot of sense, obviously, with the Smash inclusion.
It would make a lot of sense. I don't know that it's necessarily going to happen. There are a few points to it. I've heard Persona 5 was originally started as a PS3 game. I don't really follow the Persona series very much, and I'd never heard of Joker before.
I think Persona 5
this
actually
announcement, to be
ended up
honest.
releasing on PS3 as well as PS4. So
Oh, did it
it's
really?
Definitely, the specs are definitely at the level that Switch can reach.
It's possible, yeah. And I think... But we've also seen this with Cloud, right? Like, Final Fantasy VII hasn't even come to Switch yet. It was announced a little while ago.
It is coming to
But
Switch, though.
It is, but Cloud was in Wii U years beforehand.
Yeah,
I'm just
true.
saying, when Cloud was introduced, he was only in Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, and it was kind of an obscure, almost like a loophole for him. This, I think, could just straight up mean that the doors are open and it's not just Nintendo characters anymore.
I think Joker was in a weird Persona spin-off game or something that got ported to
On
Switch.
3DS,
Yeah, I
like
think
a
it was
dancing
On
one.
3DS,
think,
okay,
too.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a pretty loose
right.
Kevin Bacon connection there.
Right, so it's in the pattern of Cloud and Snake and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we're also at that weird point in the Switch's life where games that came out in the last year, probably if they weren't originally planned for Switch, are going to take about a year to port. So if they were going to port it to Switch, it would be coming in about the next year time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's also why we're probably seeing a lot of the Final Fantasy ports next year. This is just the time when all the ports are going to start coming.
Yeah, and I guess there's a Persona conference, something or other. I don't really follow the franchise enough to know its events, but that's happening in April. So there's some speculation that the announcement will come in April, and that it'll be like a fall or winter 2019 title then.
I mean, I could see it launching alongside the Joker DLC, honestly. Isn't Joker coming out in April?
We have I don't think we know what the time frame is for any of the DLC,
Oh, no.
except for maybe Piranha Plant is sort of.
I think they
being
said it was...
telegraphed
I
for
thought they said
February.
it was... Piranha Plant is February, yeah. I thought they said it was until February 2020. So, I mean, it would be about every 2 months,
About every
right?
2 months, yeah.
If the math if my facts are right and the math checks out.
That sounds about right.
Moving on, we got a lot of Nintendo sales to talk about. It's obviously the holiday season, and Nintendo really needed a win this holiday because Switch has had sort of a slow year. Just hasn't really been that many big games. And, well, they got it. They're breaking records. Smash Bros. Is breaking records. Mario Party's breaking records. Pokemon's breaking records. So we'll break some of that down here in a second. But first, Alex, I know you wanted to talk about an article that came out a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so before all this positive news started hitting, there was this Bloomberg editorial that suggested that the situation for Switch is pretty dire, that they won't meet their targets that they've set, that Switch is just not going to be this viable platform that investors should really get behind.
Yeah, it sort of painted it as a hot fad in 2017 that has just fizzled out, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I could see, based on the performance in the first half of the year, being, you could react to that as if it was disappointing, but because usually in the year two of a console's life, sales are up pretty high because they've overcome stock shortages. Demand tends to grow along a sort of demand curve that climbs in the second year, and that just didn't happen for Switch this year. It was up a little bit, but not by much. And that's definitely because the lineup in the first half of the year wasn't super strong. So, like, I'd get it if that was, like, the basis for the negativity, but they also just completely ignored that the lineup in the second half of the year is just stacked, especially compared to last year. Like, last year had Fire Emblem Warriors, Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade, Bayonetta, and Kirby. Like, those are not slouches, but they're not all giant system sellers. I'd say pretty much out of those, only Odyssey was a big system seller.
Right.
This year, from October to March, we'll have Super Mario Party, Pokemon Let's Go, Smash Bros, New Super Mario Bros. Like, those are all heavy hitters. And I know New Super Mario Bros. Is a port, but we've seen a lot of Wii U ports just perform really admirably on Switch. So I don't even know.
Mario Kart's sound crazy on Switch.
Yeah, like Mario Kart. Right. I think is it the second best-selling game on the platform right now? And I think it's still trending with a longer tail than Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. Like, so you can't just write things off as ports.
Right. I mean, especially a 2D Mario game. I mean, this is a Wii U game, which inherently means most people missed it.
Yeah. Well, and one sort of underrated fact that I don't see a lot of people talking about is when that game originally came out on Wii U, we were like 4 months out from another 2D Mario game. And then only a couple years out from one before that one. And now it's been so many years since we've gotten a new 2D Mario game that, like, even if you were a little burned out on them back in the Wii days, like, this is going to be more timely for someone who's been waiting for one.
Right, and I think we all agree that New Super Mario Bros. U is the best of that sub-series.
Yeah, totally.
The best of that sort of iteration on 2D Mario, and so, I mean, this is a great choice of a game. Like, it is going to sell systems.
Yeah, so, I have no problem with people sort of naysaying Nintendo and saying, they've made mistakes, they're not selling as well as they could have. Obviously, we had a lot of that during the Wii U era on this show. We weren't always as positive as fans would like us to be sometimes. But
well, you know what? Nintendo wasn't as positive as we would like them to be sometimes.
But, like, the argument that was made in this Bloomberg article, like, it didn't, like Alex said, the first 6 months of this fiscal year, Nintendo didn't have that much. They had a port of Captain Toad, which, I loved, but it's not a system seller. And then they had Mario Tennis Aces. But the article doesn't even say, the Switch is having a bad year. The article specifically said that Nintendo did not have a compelling holiday lineup, when it's arguably the best holiday lineup they've ever had. And then, like, to make that point, it just didn't mention any of the games. The article said, maybe Switch will get a little pick-me-up because there's a Pokemon game coming out in 2019. There's a Pokemon game that came out last month. Why are you not mentioning that in the article?
Didn't it break all kinds of records, too?
Yeah. So, the article never once mentioned Smash Bros., only mentioned the 2019 Pokemon, but ignored the 2018 one, and it didn't mention Mario Party at all. So it
seemed
to me
like
poorly
this is just
researched.
an article written in bad faith.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, and people often, when talking about Nintendo, don't talk about third-party games that actually do come to the platforms, because typically they aren't as visible and don't seem to matter as much. And I know they don't really sell systems like first-party games do, but, like, people are noticing the third-party games coming out on Switch. They're not ignoring them like the stereotype goes for past Nintendo platforms, where people just don't buy third-party games. Like, we've got games like Hollow Knight that's doing super well. Octopath Traveler, which I know is published by Nintendo but is associated with Square Enix, is doing super well. There's just lots of third-party success stories this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even bigger games like Doom and Skyrim are selling pretty well as well.
They're still selling, and that's just a story that no one's telling. People will talk about indies, but they won't talk about the big publishers' games also doing fairly well.
Yeah, because people like the idea of, being able to play Doom on the go. That's not really been a thing in the past, so.
Yeah.
The other weird remark I saw in that article was that the author said something about, Nintendo has stopped comparing Switch sales to Wii sales, and so that's probably a bad sign. But, like, that's just a factor of launch timing. Like, the last time Nintendo compared sales for Switch was right after the first Switch holiday. So both Switch and Wii had a holiday under their belts. And then, right after that would have been Wii's fifth quarter on sale, which would have been its second holiday. So it's going to be this horse race going back and forth every like fourth quarter or so.
Right, yeah. When one console releases in March and the other one in November, it's hard to directly compare their sales every month.
Yeah, right. So Switch will probably pass up Wii again this holiday, and then Wii will pass it right back up when its holiday passes. Like, there's just no way to compare them evenly throughout their entire lifespans at this point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that was the naysaying sort of predicted by that article. Now here's what actually happened over the holiday season. Smash Ultimate had the fastest ever start in both Japan and the UK. Not sure about the US yet. We haven't gotten any sales data, but from the charts that have been released in Japan and the UK, which are both way better about publishing that data than the US is, yeah, record setters. And then that caused a huge boost in Switch sales. I think they tripled or quadrupled for the week over last year. And this is a funny one. That was enough to push Switch past Vita in Japan, finally. Switch broke the 6 million mark in Japan. And, yeah.
And in Japan, that's not a nothing piece of news. Vita did poorly in Japan, but not, as poorly as it did in the West.
Yeah, something like half of its global sales were in Japan, so.
Yeah.
And also, as you talked about with the long tail on Mario Kart, 3 different titles are enjoying record-breaking attach rates for Switch. And so that's Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart. It's been, a year and a half or a little less for Mario, but since those games launched, and they all still have a 50% rate. So 50% or over 50% of people who own a Switch own those 3 games, which is just a phenomenal attach rate.
Yeah, if you go back and look through Nintendo's financial reports from the Wii era, and you look at comps for these same franchises on Wii, it's insane to see how much better these games are selling on Switch than they even did on Wii.
Yeah,
and Wii was everyone was talking about how Wii was a juggernaut that Nintendo could never top, and it was a flash in the pan, and it was a fad. But these games have long tail selling power.
Yeah, for sure.
That we've never seen anything like them on Nintendo consoles.
Yeah, all 3 of them are well over 10 million, and with Mario Kart and Zelda, those are both available on Wii U as well, and those Wii U sales aren't included in these figures. So when you add in their Wii U figures, you're looking at Mario Kart's getting close to 20 million total. Mario Kart 8, that is, between the Wii U and Switch versions, and Zelda, I think, is around 15 million. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, Nintendo pretty much dominated Black Friday through Cyber Monday. Switch was one of the top-selling pieces of video game equipment of just any kind, and Pokemon was the top-selling game, even beating out Red Dead Redemption and God of War, so pretty nuts holiday season.
I'm hearing some whispers now that Nintendo's December is just going to be completely astronomically huge, especially compared to their competitors. Which is, that's if you want to talk about whether Nintendo will meet their sales forecasts, you really need to watch December and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Right. And, even with all these sales, it is possible they come short of their forecast, because their forecast was bold. It's not easy to sell 20 million units of a $300 console, that's not easy at all. But
yeah, they were forecasting basically Wii's sales pace.
Yeah, exactly. Switch. So it's still going to be tough to beat, but if they don't reach it, I think it's going to be that they're falling just short. And then, like you said, still got Mario Bros. Coming in January, and we might even get another title before then. There's still that. A lot of times they like to sneak in a game in March because the books close for the year in March. That's when they give their investors the yearly report. So there's been rumblings that maybe Animal Crossing is out by then, or maybe Luigi's Mansion. Nintendo hasn't committed to that to themselves. That's just something we've sort of heard from insiders. So there's still a chance for some more big hitters.
I will say their 20 million sales prediction is bold, but if Animal Crossing is here in the spring, that definitely explains their confidence.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people focus on the hardware sales, but they also had I'd say a fairly bold prediction for software sales that they seem to be trouncing fairly easily, even in the first half of the year. That people say was sort of so disappointing.
Yeah,
so that's where the money tends to get made with console platforms. So the fact that they're doing well there will probably offset any disappointing results in the hardware department.
Yeah, the 20 million's an easy figure to get hung up on, but you don't make that much money on the physical hardware. It costs a lot to make and to ship and to still be affordable. So you make the money on the $60 games. So, Alex, you were talking about how, those December sales numbers are going to be all important. We will find them out on January 31st, because that is Nintendo's next investor meeting, where they'll go over the last 9 months of sales data. So I think that's April through December. We'll learn how they performed for that period.
Yep.
All right, moving on. This is, it's a little off of the Nintendo topic a bit, but I think you guys will probably enjoy talking about it, and I think the audience will probably enjoy listening to it regardless. And
yes.
that is that we've finally gotten the first couple teasers for the upcoming Sonic movie. What are your guys' first impressions?
I am in love. Look, everyone's hating on this new Sonic. Sonic is a meme. I know what a Sonic movie would look like if they got it right. I want this to be the worst train wreck possible, and I don't care what anyone says. I am so happy with exactly what we're getting.
Yeah, it does kind of look like it's shaping up to maybe be one of those so terrible that it's great movies.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the second they announced that it'd be like Sonic with a bunch of humans, I was like, oh, okay, so that's what it's going to be, right?
Right.
Off to a good start.
They were like, we're teaming Sonic up with Paul Rudd. Oh, we didn't get Paul Rudd. That's great news! Because Paul Rudd would make the movie too good!
From what we've seen, like, there are a lot of ways that you could compare what we've seen to the Detective Pikachu movie. Like, the art style, like, for Sonic seems kind of similar to the sort of weird, realistic touches they added to the Pokemon for Detective Pikachu. But, like, I don't know, something about Pokemon being made to coexist with humans because Pokemon is a universe where humans already exist.
Well, they didn't give Pikachu human calves.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Yeah, the legs are what's really getting me.
Yeah.
He has a Usain Bolt
gross.
pose on the poster. Like, it's not...
Well, and they made so
bad.
many like unique things about Sonic's design to make him not look like a realistic animal, and now they're just completely walking back all of that.
Well, no, they're not walking it back. They're just taking it in a different direction. He looks less realistic than ever.
Yeah, sure.
It's like Uncanny Valley. It's horrifying.
Well, I wouldn't say they made him more realistic. They made him more human, which is what's really weird.
Yeah,
which is
fair enough.
Yeah. There was also that like teaser poster of Sonic like kicking his legs up on Chris Pratt's head when they were like, maybe it'll be Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Do we think that's just the same? Like, people are saying that this is an original like concept, and now they've like changed how Sonic looks. But I kind of feel like that was just the same idea from a different angle, and this might not look as freakish and horrifying as we think.
His legs looked a little shorter in that other mock-up, which, do we know if that's real?
It did, but it could be the perspective. I don't know.
Well, we all know the reason Sonic runs so fast is that his legs can change shape and size, right?
Ah, yes, that's a key part of the Sonic lore. Yeah, so supposedly that's like a year-old mock-up or so. I don't know if there's really much validity to it, and yeah, it looked a little less horrifying than the other posters we've been shown, but again, mainly because he doesn't have those just weird legs. I can't get over the legs specifically, which is why that second poster, the one on the Golden Gate Bridge, really threw me for a loop, because all it shows is his weird legs and nothing else. Yeah. Like, what's the worst part of the new Sonic design? Front and center. We need it.
They know what they're doing, I'm telling you.
Yeah, they're gonna sell a lot of shoes, ironically.
And so, yeah, some of the original creators of Sonic have reacted to the posters about how you'd expect, with confusion and shock, and Yuji Naka tried to be positive.
I learned something from those comments. I learned that Sonic is actually a fairy hedgehog.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah, wait,
weird
what was that
description.
supposed to mean?
I think
was that like a translation error, or what?
Maybe he was trying to get at, he's like, he's magical or mystical. Like, he's not supposed to be a real hedgehog.
Okay.
He's a fantasy
he's
hedgehog.
like this inexplicably anthropomorphized hedgehog.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think fairy was meant to be like super literal there, but it definitely threw me for a loop as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, Yuji Naka, who's one of the creators of Sonic, he tried to be optimistic and said, maybe it'll be okay, but I could tell people don't like it, so everyone else was a little less kind than him.
Oh, I'm so ready. I'm seeing this 10 times.
I probably won't go see it in theaters, but at some point I'll have to, it'll be a good, like, get drunk with the buddies and make fun of it kind of movie.
Yeah, it'll be a Netflix and chill movie.
Yeah.
Those legs.
All right, so moving on from that unholiness, Reggie.
Alex, are you a furry?
I broke Colin. No.
You're gonna Netflix and chill to the Sonic movie?
I hope this
No, I'm
doesn't
just getting a
awaken
rise out
anything
of you.
in
It's
me.
fine. You don't have to look at me any differently after this podcast. Don't worry.
So moving on, if we can, Reggie Fils-Aimé, who is Nintendo's president, he recently, I don't know, I guess what the kids call this, throwing shade. Colin, you're the expert on millennial culture.
Oh, yeah. No, I would say that Reggie Fils-Aimé has done the most lit thing that I've ever seen.
Quick
by
dab.
Shutting down all these companies. Yeah, he dabbed on them so fast. It was a weird flex, but I thought it was okay. Look.
Colin, are you even a millennial? I don't think you are.
I'm younger than millennials.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'm Gen Z.
So what happened is Reggie in an interview said that he considers going to E3 to be a no-brainer, and he still considers it, an important show. And this is after Sony announced that they, for the first time ever, will not be attending E3 next year.
Oh, that's right. That was context I needed. Now I know what he's doing.
The joke for years has been Nintendo skipping E3, and now Sony's actually skipping E3.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah, Nintendo, they definitely, I would say, briefly took a bunch of heat from people when they, again, air quotes, pulled out of E3. But it's like they still go to E3. They still release a video. They just don't have a physical press conference anymore. And then since then, we've seen a bunch of other companies, like Activision Blizzard doesn't go to E3 anymore. I think Disney stopped going. And yeah, Sony's the biggest one, though, for one of the big three hardware publishers to pull out. But it doesn't as much sound like it's that they're fed up with the show, It doesn't as much sound like they think it's not worth it anymore as it is just they don't have any games in development. Like, it's all, I think at this point it's all shifted to PS5. So
I was going to say, they're not ready to show PS5, but they're
Yeah.
also not ready to show new games until they show PS5. So
it's like, why spend all this money to rent out a hall and to rent out space on the show floor and to hire people to come, work at your booth? Why do all that when you're like, oh, here's a trailer for The Last of Us 2.
and Days Gone,
Yeah.
if that still is that, I don't know when that's coming out. And
I
what
couldn't
was
tell
it?
you.
Ghost of Tsushima, Death
Yeah.
Stranding. That'll be it. That'll be what they would have shown.
And they can just release those trailers on their YouTube channel.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Reggie also sort of touched on Nintendo's strategy a little bit. He said, typically at E3 they like to show games that will be out within the next year or a little less because, they don't want you waiting too long and, the hype dying out because you reveal a game and then 3 years later it's not out, like Square Enix does. But he said occasionally they break that rule, like with Metroid, because they just knew that fans. There's certain games that fans really want to know about, and so they'll tease them way ahead of time. Or like with the 2019 Pokemon title, right? They announced Let's Go, and they knew that the internet was gonna, a portion of the internet would react harshly to it because that's what happens whenever you change anything. So they announced, we're doing this hybrid title in 2018, but we're going to do a normal core Pokemon in 2019. But other than that, they try not to reveal games too far ahead of time.
And boy, has that been true.
I think it's kind of telling as to like the kind of content that we will see this year. I think that he first of all brought that up so as to suggest that we shouldn't be surprised if we see something that comes out later than 2019 in next year's E3. I can totally see a situation where they do like a March Direct and drop Metroid Prime Trilogy HD in or like a January Direct and drop that like in the spring, and then gearing up for a 4 reveal at E3 and just say like, 4's coming. Get a like cinematic trailer out there because he specified Metroid.
Yeah, so maybe you thinking Metroid's not 2019 then? Thinking maybe like 2020 or something?
Oh, I
Metroid?
think it's at least 2020,
Yeah.
but I also think just like the timing would kind of make sense, like get some hype around Metroid for the HD. Or maybe they just do E3 as the Trilogy HD trailer, and then they're like, by the way, 4 is coming again. They do like, they could do like a little tease at the end of it for like what happens next in the plot.
Sure,
I don't know.
that would make a lot of sense.
But I think it suggests, we're gonna see that Pokemon game, we're gonna see Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, we're gonna see basically everything they've got because we don't know what's coming in 2020.
I'm personally curious what their headline game will be because, like, the last few years it's been pretty obvious what it would be, like Zelda and then Mario and then Smash Bros. But
Sure.
But I don't know that Animal Crossing is a good one to theme their booth around. I don't know that Luigi's Mansion is a good one to theme their booth around. I don't know that Pokemon would be one that they would ever theme their booth around just because of the Pokemon Company's involvement. So, like, is it going to be another Zelda game? Is it going to be something we've never heard of before? Is it going to be... I don't know. Like...
Maybe we'll finally see Retro Secret Project.
Yes, Star Fox Grand Prix.
Yeah. I'm still excited even if that's all that it is, but I would love to see them work on something new.
Honestly, that rumor sounded like a great game.
Yeah.
Well, I was especially excited for it, not because it was Star Fox, but because Nintendo hasn't really done a lot of repeat genre IP in a long time, it feels like. Like, they might have a couple RPGs, but their RPGs are really different from each other. Like, they're practically different subgenres. But if they could, branch out and do more racing games again, like they used to do, that would be excellent. Because it sucks that now it's like Mario Kart, and that's all you get.
We all know what the big E3 reveal is going to be. It's Splatoon.
Stunt Race FX0.
Yeah, or Splatoon Battle Royale.
Oh, God. That doesn't even work. How would you do that?
That could... Look, you joke. It could happen.
It could.
I
wouldn't play it, but someone would.
Really see that happening.
Well, I mean, there's so much customization for it, and that's like a lot of how those games get by. It's free game
it's a
with
very
lots of
player-centric experience, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, that makes almost too much sense.
I'd rather see F-Zero Battle Royale, honestly. Just because...
I would love to see an F-Zero game where it's half racing, half bounty hunting, and you actually get out and it's combat, and you, like, hit the streets of Mute City.
Well, it's like you're killing each other, but if you want, you can just hop in your race thing and shoot each other or something. I don't know.
Nintendo, get Insomniac on this.
Yeah, there we go.
They just finished Spider-Man.
Give Captain Falcon his due. You Falcon punch everyone around town.
All right, so our last story before we head into the discussion segment is just kind of a cute little Easter egg that amazingly went undiscovered for decades. So in Super Metroid, which has been, I would say, torn apart more than almost any other game by speedrunners trying to figure out every last trick and Easter egg in the game, well, what happened was this old interview surfaced. It was published in Japan, never really got much steam behind it, never was translated, and it was just recently translated. And it turns out one of the programmers on Super Metroid hid the name of his crush at the time in the game by programming character animations to move in a way that spells her name out.
Oh, wow.
I thought he said he was his girlfriend. I thought that was really sweet.
Deepest lore.
If it's a crush, I feel like that's kind of creepy.
Let me double check. Oh, yeah, okay. Looks like they were dating at the time.
I think they were dating, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I'm amazed that no one figured that out. I mean, I guess you'd have to, like, pay really close attention to the movements of the enemies and then also know Japanese, I assume. But considering how many just millions of times that section of the game has been beaten over and over and over by, like, people that play that for a living, like, it's amazing no one discovered that.
Well, the real question is, what other Illuminati conspiracy can we find hidden in Nintendo games?
Yeah, right? It's all, there's like a secret trail of breadcrumbs across the games.
Yeah.
All right, so our big discussion topic for the week, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate recently just came out. So what do you think, guys?
Did it ever.
It's living up to the name, right?
Never played it.
No.
It is. It is. I have a weird relationship with it because it's definitely the ultimate Smash Bros., but I've also played so much of all 4 other Smash Bros. Games, and we gotta be real, there's just not a lot of new content here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love it. I love Smash. That is my thing, always has been, but I'm also very much feeling like I have been playing this game for years.
I'm fortunate enough that I've spent enough time away from Smash Brothers before Ultimate came out that like I don't have that strong a feeling about that. But yeah, it sort of sucks that there aren't more new stages, for example.
Yeah, I sold my Wii U a while ago, so it's just been nice to get back to Smash in general because I've gotten rusty.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I will say that I haven't picked up a GameCube controller for Smash since probably the summer, and I don't think I didn't bring my 3DS out. So I've been not good at this game. Anyone who's missed any of the other 4 Smash games, and I mean especially Wii U and 3DS. 3DS I think was one of the best selling, but Wii U is, I would say until this point, the best Smash game, the ultimate Smash game. And there's so much content from both. There's every stage I think except Rainbow Road from the 3DS one.
And Pac-Maze. Don't forget Pac-Maze.
That's right. Pac-Maze is way better than Pac-Land.
Yeah,
that was weird.
That's the worst. Easily the worst thing about the game.
I hate
from
Pac-Land.
my perspective.
But anyway, I mean, they've got almost every stage. They have every single fighter. Like, there's enough new content for anyone who's missed even one game that this is like a huge, awesome new thing. Like, this is a whole new Smash game and a half.
Yeah, and despite like so much of the content being borrowed from past games, like it doesn't quite feel like a port.
No, it looks so good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, it looks
and every
good.
character handles a little differently too.
Exactly.
Every character, I think, has been not necessarily rebuilt like code-wise, but their animations are different. They look so much smoother. Like, it really look like it's such a great game.
Like I do kind of wish more of them were overhauled in the way that like Link was, where it was really extreme and really borrowed a lot from his recent games. But you know, they everyone except for maybe this cast added in Smash 4 is different in some significant way.
I think, yeah, and I think it's in part because they have 3 Links that they did that. Although they have 4 Marths, so or 10, I don't know.
So
Everyone is Marth.
You were talking about new content or perhaps a lack of new content, and I think the biggest new thing is World of Light. So how have you guys been feeling about that so far?
I don't like it.
No?
I respect it. Like, I loved stickers in Brawl, and spirits are basically stickers. I just don't find it that fun. I think it was a very smart replacement for trophies. I think it was a great way to bring a lot of those sort of, like, extra elements that probably fluffed up Smash a lot more than it needed to be. Like, smash them all together and make, like, one really cohesive, awesome thing. But it's not for me. The battles just are really rote, and I don't know.
So I feel like, a lot of the battles get a little repetitive after a while, but I find that as long as you play it in short bursts, it's fine.
Yeah.
I love the game map. It's beautiful. Some of the challenges are a little tricky, and it's cool collecting all the different spirits and, checking them out and everything, reading the descriptions. But it's short bursts for me. I never play World of Light for more than like a half an hour at a time, and then I don't get burned out on it. I don't feel overwhelmed by it. I don't feel like, this is too repetitive. I can, switch to another mode, try something different, and then come back and unlock more of the map as I go. And I've found that's been a pretty good way to progress through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other complaint I have is that, like, I actually really like the gimmicky spirit battles because I like sort of figuring out what the reference is supposed to be. Because almost all of them are this cute little reference to something, or creepy reference in the case of
they're
a couple
very
characters.
clever. I mean, there's so much work and heart went into it. It's amazing.
But I wish that I could interact with those battles without having to worry about managing the spirits and the abilities that you unlock on the side. Like, I wish I could just play through the gimmicky battles.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the management is just, it really drags the whole experience.
You mean just like changing out your party?
That's a very
changing out your spirits,
leveling them up?
Just the process of going through menus in World of Light is really painful.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I hadn't really thought about how that factors into it, but I think if it was more of a marathon, I've been enjoying the spirit, what's it called, spirit board?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot better. But even that is, like 15-minute bursts.
So I need to check that out, because I actually haven't messed around with that mode yet. I've been trying to get as much Smash as I can in before this discussion, but I'm still playing Pokemon, and then I just got like a review code for a game I've been waiting a long time for, so I haven't tested out every mode in Smash. But
it's basically World of Light, except you've got a certain number of spirits that are waiting to challenge you, and you choose which one, and then you get one chance to beat them.
Okay.
I kind of like the thing they have going where they have those live events where certain ones will be focus. Like, I think that's kind of cool. Like, it gives me a reason to power on the game again and check them out. Because the battles are, when you play just a couple of them, they tend to be kind of fun. The problem I'm having is that, like, I haven't invested myself in the spirits aspect of the game very much. I just want to fight the battles. And so, like, all the rare spirits that they're highlighting in this round that are, like, really high level, I'm just not a match for yet, and so it's like this weird thing where I want to play the battles, but I don't want to lose the battles and not have the chance to try. Do you
have you unlocked the dojo? Or the
I've
gym?
unlocked a couple dojos.
There's a gym where you can train up your spirits. Like, you just leave them in there for a day, and they get to level 99.
That's nice.
I
don't think I found that yet. I found a couple dojos though.
I found that I went north with Mario, and I found it very quickly. I don't remember exactly where it was, though.
Which
it's been a real blessing.
Do you remember?
Doc Lewis.
Okay, perfect. I'll look
the dojos and all this about the World of Light mode that I really, really love is that it feels like exactly what I was playing Smash and loving it for when I was a kid. Like, when I had Brawl, I would record matches without the music on and put different game music in there and put it on YouTube, or I would set custom matches with different characters' skins to represent different stuff from different games. And it captures the essence of that
Like the silly matchups,
childlike
right?
wonder of playing, right? The silly
Yeah.
matchups, but also like just the pure imagination that this whole crossover would take in, any other situation.
Yeah.
Like that whole imagination idea from the very beginning, the N64 days, when it was like Master Hand is the kid playing with his toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
feels
just
that way.
it takes that so far, and it's so incredible,
Well,
right?
even
and it's
even
so
the world
inclusive,
map
like,
design, it looks like one of those like mats that you drive your cars around on. As a
Yeah,
kid,
totally. And I think this is the right way to combine all of that into something that really honors all these characters who definitely don't deserve to be in Smash, but deserve to be commemorated in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everyone can
So-
get in as a playable character, but you can create matchups in this game that, like you said, we couldn't even imagine them as a kid, right? Like, some of them are just
like
crazy.
it's amazing.
So, who have you guys been maining? And if it's someone that you mained before, have you noticed any like differences? Did they nerf or buff your favorite characters?
Oh, my boy, K. Rool is so good.
Yeah, K-Rool's fun. I continue
I
to
was
main
so
the
excited.
random. Random is still my bae.
Yeah, random, I feel, is a good way to figure out how different characters have changed, because so many of them play so fundamentally similarly. But everyone has these little nuances that are going to throw you off. Like, everyone you have to relearn to some small degree.
Yeah.
But when I want to commit, and I usually do for online battles, and I've been doing K. Rool and Little Mac. Little Mac got so much better.
Yeah?
He can recover out of the side B.
Really?
So Jolt Haymaker
That's like
off
almost a
stage
good recovery.
doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
It's almost a good recovery.
I will have to
well,
check
here's
that
the thing.
out then.
I think recoveries got buffed across the board. Like,
Yeah,
so
it
many
does feel
people
that way.
are so easy to recover with, and that's not a complaint. I mean, this game is so much more fast-paced, and you die off the sides and the top so much faster now that I think it's good that everyone can get back from the bottom a little more safely.
Yeah.
But, so even the buffs to Little Mac's recovery ability, he's still relatively a pretty bad aerial character.
Sure.
It's just nice that he's not totally doomed.
So, unlike you guys, I'm actually not nuts about K. Rool. I only played like maybe 3 or 4 matches as him, so I'm gonna, I'll try a little more, see if I can fall into a groove with him. But for the newcomers, I'm really digging Incineroar.
Really?
Yeah, so like
Are you a furry?
I never liked him in the actual Pokemon game, but in Smash he's
Interesting.
pretty great. So like he doesn't do that much damage, and he's not that fast, but he launches people. Like all of his throws just send people flying. Like all of his attacks, really. His smashes, his if you get the timing right on his over B, where you throw him up against the ropes, that one launches him too. So he's one of those characters where like even if your opponent only has like 20 damage, if you lure them over to the side of a stage with kind of a shallow off-screen area, you can get easy kills like that.
Well, and his counter works really interestingly, too, in that it's not just a typical counter, it's revenge from Pokemon, so you kind of absorb it. I think you do a little bit of damage back, right? But then it powers up your next move.
Is that how
and
it
you
works?
can get like 60 damage on some stuff.
See, I've still been
Yeah.
trying to get the hang of that, because like I noticed it wasn't doing that much when I'd successfully land one, but I did not realize what it was doing was powering up the next
So,
attack.
yeah, so that's why you'll get like the flame like effect on his body. Mm-hmm. That means you've been powered up. I don't know if it scales depending on like how much damage you took, or if it's just kind of a general like 150% damage output.
Well, that's
I don't
awesome.
know
That'll,
what it is, but that's how it works.
That'll make me an even better Incineroar player. But my overall main is still my girl Samus from last gen, and I've been told that she's been nerfed worse than anyone else. I think she feels
Really?
a little slower and hits a little weaker, but I've noticed I think her screw attack launches people further than it used to, which is great. And then another thing, at E3 I felt like her super missiles were really slow, and I don't feel like they're as slow now. I feel like they made them a little bit quicker, so which I'm fine with that.
How do you like Dark Samus?
So I haven't had a ton of time to play with her, but she's pretty cool. I like the way she kind of hovers over the ground, like when you move around. That's pretty awesome.
I love her jump animation, the double jump.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get in a little more time with her later.
I've been enjoying the echoes all around, honestly, because like I've played with the characters they're echoing so often that it's nice to have the tweaks.
Yeah.
It's also really nice when the tweaks are actually really significant, like with Chrom. Chrom is like a lot of fun to play with, and I wish more of the echoes were as different as he is.
Have any of you guys tried the Inkling? I hear Inkling is like
It's an
maybe
adjustment.
top tier, maybe number
Yeah.
one. According
I
to a
mean,
couple
you're not
of
going to be
these.
immediately awesome with Inkling, but Inkling is
Right.
is fun and interesting.
I haven't played them yet. I've fought against them a bunch, but I still have a few
once-
characters to unlock yet. So
I got grounded through a battlefield platform with the side B, so
Oh, wow.
I'm really salty. Inkling's got to get nerfed. But yeah, no, my friend plays a really good Inkling, and I've seen a couple of them online just like go so fast. I am happy Young Link is back,
Yeah,
but
Youngling's been a lot of fun to play too.
the changes I'm not a fan of. I don't know if I'll like pick him up again or if I'll just kind of be like, yeah.
I didn't
let him go.
play a whole lot of Melee. So what all changes have they done to Young
So
Link?
the boomerang, when you would hit it at the ground, used to reverse back to you and just keep flying.
Mm-hmm.
So you could use it to basically cover a wide range behind you. Now it hits the ground and it bounces off and keeps going in the same direction.
Okay.
The fire arrows disappear a lot quicker. They used to go basically the whole stage on Melee, and they went down. They sort of curved downwards in an arc that went about 45 degrees. Now they work a lot more like Link's arrows used to. They are much flatter. I think Toon Link had fire arrows in previous games, didn't he?
I think it was a custom in Smash 4, but I don't think he had them by
Okay.
default.
Yeah, not by default.
Okay. Oh, I'm thinking of Project M. Or
Yeah,
maybe
that'll
not.
do it.
Did
Yeah,
that have
maybe.
Young Link? All the Smash games are blending together now, but yeah, they used to arc a lot more, and that I thought was a lot better for setups because they would launch like pretty vertically, and I had a lot of fun just kind of flying around the stage, pulling off these weird tricks. But I don't know, it seems a lot less flexible now. You can mix up your opponent a lot less, I feel like. And granted, I haven't had a ton of time with him. We'll see if that remains true. But yeah.
Yeah, this is reminding me of how much I've blocked Melee out of my brain and don't really remember how anything worked.
Yeah, one really nice thing that they've added that I liked is the way you can like save rule sets or like rule profiles for your battles and stuff. So I've got like we did like a Gamnesia tournament among the staff, so I have like a rule set save for that and a rule set save for when I battle against my friends, just the custom rules we like to use and all that. So it's just a cool way to be able to quickly jump into the battle that you want to do with your friend group without a bunch of setup.
Yeah, completely. I will say also, the shop feature is incredible. I love it. You can just buy all the music, just wait like 10 minutes, play a classic mode, and come back to the shop. You got new music. Oh, it's awesome. I'm so glad they included something like this for fast, easy unlocks.
Yeah, especially since you're always nuts about the music in games, especially
I mean, it's so good.
like good music can
And
make
Smash
a
is
game,
such
but
a
you
good soundtrack.
adore the music. I think for you, it's almost like the most important part of a lot of games.
This changed my life.
I've probably spent a good like 2.5 hours just tweaking what music appears on which stages because I want to get it like to exactly the right balance, you know?
Ugh,
And
that's cute.
I still have like
2.5 hours.
300 songs to unlock. So
Are there that many unlockable songs?
I think you start with like 600, and I think there are more 900. Is that right, or is it 800? It's a huge number. Yeah,
All right.
But what, only
well,
like 2 from Square Enix or something?
yeah. No unlockable Square Enix songs.
I will say the My Music like layout in some series it really needs to be adjusted. There are a bunch of stages that have just a pool of other when they could totally divide it into like categories of like me music and like NES retro music, and there are a couple categories. There's also this is a big problem with the Mario series because there's like they've got some of the main Mario stages, but then they've also got some of the stuff that's clearly intended for like from the Paper Mario series. It's supposed to be on the Paper Mario stage, and like I get what they're doing, but it's also such a pain to go through 80, 90 songs at once.
Yeah.
And have to change, and when they're all automatically set to kind of show up a little bit, like, I don't know. Maybe this is me just being picky. I think a lot of people won't touch my music, but
I tend to.
I've
That's one of the
spent,
reasons why it's
like,
taken
8
so long
hours
for me.
there.
Is
I'm
that
mad.
cranking them up all the way is just a pain.
yeah. But it's also like it's really jarring when I hear a song play on the wrong stage, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
Yep.
don't
Totally get you.
Whole level ruined.
How do you feel about the single player options outside of World of Light?
Classic's been interesting. I haven't played a ton of it, but I like what they're going for with it. I
love that they condensed it and like it's actually classic mode again.
Yeah. And I feel like what is it, like 8 levels or something? I feel like that's a pretty good length considering how many characters there are to play as and to play through it as.
Definitely.
So. And I like that you get to occasionally fight like some interesting bosses like outside of the normal Smash roster.
Yeah, so that goes into just the general fact that everyone's classic mode track is completely individualized to something like specific about that character. Mm-hmm. Like Crom's, I think it was all about teamwork, and every match you'd be teamed up with like Lucina or Robin, and you'd fight another team like Pit and Dark Pit. Link's is all about like what was Link's going through all the Zelda characters, and then you fight Ganon at the end. Anyway,
yeah, he had like dark characters or something like that. I was part of it.
They're all themed in a very specific and thoughtful way, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, just like you said in World of Light, where they have the spirit matchups where they're meant to represent something from their games. Just a lot of thought went into this, clearly.
Right.
A lot of loving care. Which, if you're going to put Ultimate in the title, then you absolutely need to do that.
Yeah.
But there's so many characters, it's insane that they actually pulled it off.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they spent a pretty good amount of time developing it, and they were able to recycle a lot of assets, which is, gives them a good head start to be able to make it, have this much depth to it then.
Yeah, after they started cutting the individualized break the targets, I never thought we'd see this level of individualization for characters in single player modes ever again. So
I will say the new bonus game is not good. And it's really underwhelming that we don't have something, even like a generic target test, like even a non-player specific one. I don't know. I just feel like there's no home run contest.
It's a bad execution of Race to the Finish, and Race to the Finish was already okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not much challenge to it. I mean, you can go off the beaten path and try to collect all the golden things, but otherwise you can just run to the end easily. So
it's the same thing,
right?
Yeah.
And collecting the golden things isn't even that hard.
No.
Well, and even being different characters doesn't really change the process of getting through the maze that much.
Right, it's designed so that everyone can kind of do it pretty easily.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest letdown of classic mode. But I've probably beaten it with like a dozen characters or so. So.
Mm-hmm. But if they didn't have it, I wouldn't have noticed that something was missing. So the fact that it's there is just kind of a stumbling block.
This is true. It definitely comes from the fact that we grew up playing Smash games that had other modes like that. I will say, if they were gonna strip it down, I don't know, I feel like at this point the bonus game is just kind of annoying.
Sure, yeah.
But whatever. It's a great Smash Ultimate's awesome. So
we talked a little bit earlier about how Joker from Persona 5 was revealed at the Game Awards as a surprise Smash DLC character. Ooh. That kind of opens some doors, right? Because that's not a character anybody saw coming. So what do we think is going to be the case for the rest of the DLC?
All right, this is a big can of worms you just opened.
This means Colin has some theories.
Go!
I have too many theories to keep track of. Do we think? Just gauging just the vibe of the room here. Is it gonna be all third party? Because Reggie said that Joker should indicate that the rest of the DLC lineup is really not gonna be what you expect to make it into Smash.
Yeah, so it'd be easier for me to say if I knew that Persona 5 was coming, or if I knew Persona 5 wasn't coming, because that would tell us that at least they're probably looking at cross promos, not necessarily third party, but cross promos with games coming out in 2019. And that would sort of, give us a frame of reference. But since we don't know that, we can only speculate that that's happening. I don't know what that means.
I mean, I'm hoping it's not all third parties, just because, I still kind of want Paper Mario or Captain Toad to get in.
Paper Mario would be so good.
Absolutely. But I wouldn't mind a few more of these sort of big-name third-party guys that, would bring in, a sort of non-Nintendo crowd, reach out a little bit to people that might not necessarily otherwise get involved with Smash.
Right. So that's exactly what I think they're doing. I think, first of all, every character that they're going to introduce, I think it's going to be something that, needs the works. You get the stage, the music. They've never been in Smash before, and so it's a real, celebratory thing when they're introduced. So on as much as I want like Paper Mario, they've already got the stage and all the music. Like I don't think that's happening. Captain Toad's in the background of New Donk. Like Waluigi is the only character that the entire world would pay for, but that's not going to happen. I think it is going to end up being a lot of these third-party promotions. I think.
You don't think Waluigi will get a Mario Tennis stage, and that'll be it? That'll be the end of our dreams for Waluigi having a universe?
Let me put it this way: if they know how to make money, they would put Waluigi in the game as DLC.
You mean if they know how to make money from Colin's wallet?
Well, let me say again, the Washington Post saw that Smash Bros. Ultimate was announced, and they didn't run a story that there's a new Smash game. They wrote a story that Waluigi isn't in the new Smash game. Yeah. Like, I'm just saying, they see that that's the one character people are asking for all the time.
Well, this is the Smash game where dreams and jokes can all come true.
Yeah.
Sometimes at the same time, because you have a dream character who is also a Joker.
There you go.
See, maybe that's what they mean when they say this is indicative of what could be coming for the future.
But so I think it means we're gonna see stuff like, I mean, so here's another thing. I don't think we really talked about this at Gamnesia very much as it was going down, but there was this leaker through the whole sort of last 6 or 7 months of Smash Ultimate coming out. No, that's way too long a time frame. Last couple months. But they basically got everything right. They were like,
including Incineroar, right?
Yeah, Incineroar. And they were like, look, Incineroar and Ken are the last two characters. Then there was this other leak about, like, it was this Grinch leak. I don't know if anyone listening has heard it. I'm sure they have. But where it was like, oh, it's going to be Isaac and Banjo-Kazooie and Mach Rider.
And what else was there? Was it there was another crazy one.
Ken and
Crap, what
Shadow.
was it?
Yeah,
No,
it's crazy that Shadow isn't in the game.
Yeah, it is kind of.
By the way, it's crazy.
There was
that
another
got
crazy
Ken
one
and no
besides
Shadow.
those, and I can't remember what it was. Not Chorus Kids.
It was
the other
five.
one.
Oh, it was Chorus Kids.
No, there was another.
So that was 6?
One. Anyway, whatever.
Were there 7?
There was
Anyway.
a million.
It was a wrong rumor.
Yeah.
So,
but the person
but
you're
this other
talking
guy
about, I think,
who got everything
said,
right also said there's Minecraft content coming, and he doesn't know if
Okay.
it's he knows there is a stage that involves a creeper, but I think the creeper maybe was in his trophy. I'm not sure there. What's up in the air from his information is whether there's a Minecraft character.
Sure.
Yeah, I think a
we
stage
could
makes a lot of sense. I don't know if...
a stage. I mean, how this must play out, one would assume, would be that you'd get a Minecraft character with a Minecraft stage and Minecraft music. But if they're working with Microsoft on Smash Bros. Content, and Phil Spencer's constantly tweeting about wanting Banjo-Kazooie in Smash Bros.
Right.
See, but there's no
Dreams
way.
might be coming
There's
true.
no way they put Banjo-Kazooie in Smash Bros. And then have Minecraft be the stage, because
Right.
if you're going to put Banjo in Smash Bros., you need Banjo music in Smash Bros. And Banjo music cannot be playing just on this Minecraft stage. Like that's not acceptable. Fans would.
Were you suggesting that both are coming, Colin? That they're working with them on a Minecraft stage, and that could lead to a bigger, better relationship?
I was just suggesting a possibility that... I mean, I think... I don't think that a pack of Banjo with a Minecraft stage is necessarily, likely. Banjo with a Banjo stage or Minecraft with a Minecraft stage would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the other possibility we haven't
both. Who
acknowledged
knows?
is that there's DLC that is not fighter packs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they could just do...
There is that possibility, but I don't think they would do that until after the fighter
fighter packs
are done.
It's possible. We
But
really don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe they'll do Echo characters and say, hey, if you get this character pack and do a bundle for $2 extra, then you get the Echo Fighter of that third party, or of that, whatever the DLC was.
Yeah, because I find it suspicious that there's clearly no Echo Fighters in the fighter packs, because they said there won't be. But it seems weird that there'd be no Echo Fighter DLC, because if they hyped up Echo Fighters this much, you'd think they'd have more coming than what actually made it into the base game.
I could see them doing a stage pack where we get some of the stages back that are missing from... But there's also 5 stages on the select screen that are pre-planned out, so I don't know that more DLC will be coming. I kind of feel like it's the 5 fighters and Piranha Plant was the bonus.
Well, we all know that if they really wanted to, they could just add another column to the stage select screen and just make it even more unwieldy than it already is. And Sakurai is insane enough to do that. So
yeah, I will say it is a little hard finding stages sometimes, but eventually I'm sure I'll commit it to memory.
Hey, by the way, Stage Morph, awesome.
I haven't tried it yet. I tried the Squad Strike, and that was fun, but I haven't tried Stage Morph.
Yeah, Squad Strike's fun. Smashdown,
yeah.
I haven't tried, but I imagine that just works exactly like you would think it would.
Yeah.
I love these new special modes. I mean, that really is a good way to make Smash more competitive and more interesting in a local multiplayer environment.
Yeah, especially since, Smash is the ultimate party game, so, having lots of different options for how you want to whoop your friends is great.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to DLC.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I imagine it's going to be these third-party crossovers. You had mentioned this earlier. I think it was Ben, where they're going after characters that are going to get people interested from other consoles. People who play PlayStation or Xbox and say, "Hey, this makes me want to hop in, play Super Smash Bros. On Nintendo Switch." I think that's why they got Joker from Persona. I think that's part of why they went for Persona. I think we can completely see them working with Bethesda. Bethesda actually said, I think it was in an interview with Kotaku, might not have been Kotaku, that they've spoken to Nintendo about Super Smash Bros. And who knows whether that means anything.
Right.
But I mean, looking at their support on Switch, we've got Diablo, we've got Skyrim, we've got Doom, we've got Wolfenstein. There are a lot of Bethesda characters that could completely make sense.
Demons coming to Smash Bros.
Diablo would be a little much. I could see it.
I mean, they have the Loot Goblin amiibo coming, right? So maybe
that's true.
They go more in that direction.
Oh, interesting.
Cyber Demon will be my new main.
What I was going to say, though, is I think probably the most likely would be the Dragonborn from Skyrim, just because that game is...
I actually don't think that's the most likely third-party character.
Well, from Bethesda.
Maybe from Bethesda.
As a Bethesda representative.
I do think there's an obvious third-party character that we're leaving, where we haven't really gotten around to, and that is...
Vault Boy?
No. I forget what his character's name is. I'm blanking on his name right now. Erdhard or something?
Oh, Erdrick?
From Erdrick, there we go, from Dragon Quest. If
I've heard a lot of talk about this.
It's partly because Dragon Quest has such a long history with Nintendo. That's the series Nintendo bet on back when Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy were coming out, and so well, I don't know if the fandom is really there, but Nintendo's desire to support that series is definitely there.
Sure.
And we know Dragon Quest XI is coming out on Switch next year, so that's the cross promo opportunity is definitely there.
Okay.
And from what I understand, that character, Erdrick, is mentioned in Dragon Quest XI or in some way. So.
And besides, if they work with Dragon Quest, then that's one step closer to Akira Toriyama and getting Goku in Smash.
But Goku's already a spirit in Smash, right?
Wait, is he?
That's what I thought I heard. Maybe it's a different character named Goku that's also a monkey.
Oh, I mean, wait.
Look this up. It's a thing. I don't know. I didn't watch enough of the original Dragon Ball to know if that's.
No, yeah, it's
a
monkey named Goku from Yu Yuki.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Good joke, though.
I'm gonna throw another name in the ring. Jibanyan from Yokai Watch.
Yeah, that's possible.
I'm pretty confident that's happening.
That's
Nintendo
a pretty Nintendo
Don't
thing
they
to
publish that series in the West?
They do.
I believe so, yeah.
And
4's coming out on Switch.
They've been exclusive with Nintendo since the inception of the series, and it's one of the biggest trends in Japan. I don't really care about Yokai Watch. I don't really want Jibanyan to take up one of those 5 spots, I'm going to be honest. But
yeah.
I do think it's probably one of the most likely characters.
See, a couple of years ago I would have agreed for sure, but I feel like Yokai Watch has died off a little bit, but there is hype for 4.
Yokai Watch 3 is coming. Or 4.
Yeah, 4 is on the way, and that'll be the first Switch one. Because, from what I understand, 2 didn't quite live up to expectations, and then 3 did 3 even get brought to the West?
Well, they've all been wet farts outside of Japan, so...
Yeah. And I was thinking 3 didn't even come outside of Japan, but 4 is planned to. Cause
I think 3 came out in one definitive version as opposed to like
That sounds right.
Fleshy
yeah,
Souls.
like a late
That
release.
sounds right.
That was the craziest thing I've ever heard. Can't believe they named those games.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yokai Watch 4 is coming out on Switch, and that's just another huge cross-promotion thing. Like, drop the character and drop the game.
I know there's already Monster Hunter content in Ultimate, but I feel like if they're going to go with, like, we'll pick a really high-selling IP for 3DS, they should probably lean more into Monster Hunter. Especially since that game now has a huge, pretty big following in the West, thanks to Monster Hunter World. Like, that would be a
Isn't
huge
there
cut.
also music already from it?
I think so. I don't remember how it manifests, or if it's just in that one boss battle.
Palico for
Anyway,
Smash.
I do think it would make sense to sort of fill out the Monster Hunter representation with a character and a stage and some maybe more music, maybe music at all.
That would just be such a
that
fun
franchise
character.
is just getting more
you know?
popular by the year, too.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, I don't play Monster Hunter, but I could see it being fun.
A lot of weapon switching. That's the thing that would interest me most. It's just the opportunity for interesting moves. That's all.
I bet they could do something really cool with the fact that there are so many big heavyweight characters now too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Another
know if
big
they would do
heavyweight
that, like
fighter type character.
Well, not just that, but like, I don't know if they would do this with a specific mechanic where like he damages bigger
I see what you're
monsters more intensely, or if they would just balance his moves so that he is really fast and really good against big heavy characters.
I could see them doing a thing where like different weapons do different things to different weight class
different like
characters or
sizes
something.
and yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've hyped myself for this now.
Well, you know the rule. If we talk about it on our podcast, it happens.
A lot of stuff has not happened.
Yeah, that was the old show until we took our break. And then we lost our touch.
It's gone. Mother 3 still isn't on Wii U. What is this?
Yeah.
Sad time.
Any other
There are
we think
characters
might
that
be
I
DLC?
want that I know won't be the ones they pick. I'd love Hollow Knight to be a character.
Oh, absolutely.
It's perfectly suited for Smash. It's the way that character is and controls, and the amount of personality and the way it's animated. Like, wonderful.
They could do the protagonist from Golf Story.
I've heard people thinking if they're going for crazy picks, they might do Sans, but I feel like that's not happening.
No,
I don't think
so
that's
either.
gonna. Although there was that Deltarune
Yeah.
launched with that reference to Smash Brothers.
That's true.
But who knows? I mean,
That game is pretty
That
popular
probably
in
could have
Japan,
just been
and that
because-
seems to be
Yeah.
how Smash characters get added, is they're popular in Japan. So, who knows?
I'm literally looking through my Switch games right now to see because I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, Rayman?
Yeah, that was that's what started the whole what's it called, the fake Smash leak and everything.
The
What's that
Smashified?
channel? Smashified, yeah.
Yeah.
Those awesome high quality renders of like what Smash characters could look like, and we still don't have Rayman all this time later.
Well, I think what was so interesting about it was that he was I think the only third-party trophy on Wii U who wasn't a playable character. Is that right?
I think that's right. There might have been
And
one other, but I don't remember.
It was like a weird, nice inclusion. But anyway, now that they're working with Nintendo and Ubisoft together on Mario and Rabbids, and I mean we've had Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends on Wii U and Switch. Like, I totally think Rayman could make it in.
Hopefully Rayman
Get,
and not
stage
Rabbids.
with some Rabbids stage. Well, Rabbids would make sense as like an assist trophy or stage.
Oh
with a
my
stage or
goodness!
something,
How did I
think.
not come up with this earlier? Obviously, Rabbid Peach needs to be a playable character. Like, you think I'm joking? I would main her.
Yeah,
No, I
should be
don't think
fun.
you're joking.
I'm trying to
Funky
think of
Kong
what your
Echo,
Final Smash
I'd
would
be all about that.
Oh, God,
I
yeah.
would like an Echo Fighters pack. I think that would be really cool.
I would rather see.
But it's a bummer that they've gotten rid of a
free
couple of the
trickle.
ones who would be really good Echo Fighters as assist trophies. Like, well, I guess Crystal wouldn't be, but Shadow would.
Shadow would be a good one.
I
I'm
guess
sad
they could do Tails.
There wasn't more. I would like to see a trickle of like free Echo DLC. That seems like something that they could give away for free if they're making so much bank off of the main game, off of accessories, and off of the fighter pack.
Yeah, and then they can kind of
but would
continue
they?
the trend
But
that
would
they
they,
did
though?
with Splatoon and ARMS, because those games each got a year worth of free DLC. So
I feel like it'll be, if they're doing an Echo Fighters thing, I feel like they would want to do it all together in like one celebratory pack and make a big deal out of like, here's Echo Fighters, like rah rah rah, you know, instead of trying to trick. Because I think they realized with the DLC last time that trickling them out kind of like a little haphazardly almost, just kind of like based on when the characters were ready.
That's the only reason why I imagine they might be
I think it lost
free,
a little bit of steam.
Because, like, one of the things we've seen lately with Splatoon and ARMS, it's not just about content getting added, it's about the games getting updated in some significant way that makes you want to come back, and that could be content or it could be features. And I'm just struggling to imagine, outside of, like, some quality of life stuff, what other features they could possibly drop.
It would be, and you make a good point, it would be a great way to get people back into Smash, so they open the game up when they notice that they've got a new character out of nowhere, and then the news thing pops up and it says you can buy Joker now.
Yeah.
So, that, okay.
But there are a few ideas I'd had for Echoes, but like I don't have enough that I can really say that that'd be justified. I
mean, I think Funky Kong, I think Impa could be an Echo for Sheik.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
I feel
like Funky Kong, I would rather have him as his own unique character, but I like the Sheikah or the Impa idea quite a bit.
One of the ones I've been most attached to is now that we've seen that Echoes can be sort of combinations of characters, like with Chrom, I'd love to see a Dixie Kong that plays a lot like Diddy but has a recovery similar to Donkey Kong.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. Okay, and just replace the tail stuff with the ponytail.
Right.
That'd be cool. I mean, I think there's Black Shadow, there's Dry Bowser, there's... we've already got so many Marths, we don't need more.
I'm still a stand for Mr. L as a
Mr. L would be great, but I think that would just be...
it's too much. I mean...
I'm sad it's not a skin.
Yeah, right.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Like, I had a list, and then all of them became real, and then I didn't have a list anymore.
Ms. Pac-Man.
Yeah, Ms. Pac-Man would be alright.
Jean from Bayonetta. Octoling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jean.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's a respectable list. And I feel like a lot of those, those feel like the kinds of things that would be free, not the ones that they'd make you pay for, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Although, the third-party ones, maybe not.
Yeah.
So maybe they would...
Well, for licensing reasons, probably not.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe you get them with the fighter pack, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, good point.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that would depend, though, if the company associated with the Echo Fighter is also involved with a new fighter. But also, didn't they say that you don't get Echo Fighters with the character packs?
Well, they said none of the characters in the list of 5 are Echoes, I believe, was what they said.
Yeah, that's correct.
So they could, I mean, there's some flexibility there for them to make some weird
decisions. They also said there won't, like, it'll only be one character. But I could be wrong. Maybe that was just my interpretation.
They could always add a surprise, I guess, is what I'm saying. You know?
Right, like with, like, I know this is a slightly different scenario, but like with Nintendo Switch Online, you know, they always announce, hey, here's the 3 games coming next month. And then, like, some of the time they're like, oh, surprise, here's a 4th and a 5th. They're just remade versions of older games. So they could do something similar with the Echo Fighters, where it's just, surprise, here's an Echo Fighter along with the thing you knew you were already getting.
Mm-hmm. I think they could do a new Pokemon alongside the Pokemon game. They could totally do a new Fire Emblem character for 3 houses.
Yeah, I think those are both major possibilities. I kind of hope they don't for Fire Emblem, just because, you know, half the roster's already Fire Emblem, but another Pokemon representative is always a pretty smart move.
Jarth's all around.
One thing I'm kind of sad about looking at the Smash Ultimate roster is in past games, we'd get some, like, random reach back from old Nintendo history. Like, Rob is a good example, Mr. Game & Watch is a good example.
Yeah.
We don't have anything like that in Smash Ultimate. Like, I don't feel like Richter and Simon count. Like, they're from a pretty popular series and they're characters that people know. But, like, I don't know who's left at this point except for maybe the guy from Star
I know who's left. We got Mike Jones. Yeah. We got the Urban Champion, Sukapan, Takamaru. You want me to go on? Because we got Bubbles from Clue Land.
Characters that aren't, like, assist trophies or, you know.
Bubbles ain't no assist trophy.
Thurman Thomas
Muddy
for
Mole.
Tecmo Super Bowl.
Maybe that's what they were going for with Piranha Plant.
I think it is because
Piranha Plant's like one of those characters. Yeah,
exactly.
Everyone knows that character's name, Like that's an important thing, I feel like, and that's why it's not just like any other mook from any other old Nintendo game.
Yeah. I mean, plus, like, it's such a strange, bizarre choice that works so well. I do think that that's their, like, what is going on character. I think that's what they're filling here. Because we had, I would say, well, I guess Duck Hunt was a retro character.
Yeah,
I would
Duck Hunt
say
was
that
the
Wii
special
Fit
one.
Trainer was the weird Nintendo surprise, though.
Yeah,
If I'm being honest. But,
Yeah,
I mean, there's no
fair.
reason one game couldn't have two.
Sure.
I think the takeaway is that Smash is just kind of a big mishmash roster, and they're not following a pattern.
True.
the pattern is Sakurai works 100 hours a week, so he puts whoever he wants in the game.
Exactly. If he wants a piranha plant, he deserves it. So Ben, what were you going to say before I pulled up that?
I was just going to ask you guys: have you had a chance to play online much? And if so, how has your experience been?
I have not played with randoms online. I played with my brother a little bit today, and it was actually pretty nice. Like the first couple matches, there was a little bit of lag, but after that, no hitches at all. Great.
Before the update a couple days ago, I was pretty frustrated with it because basically anyone who doesn't have this game yet and did have the 3DS or Wii U versions, they got rid of the for fun and for glory dichotomy, and they just kind of mash it all together with like this preferred rules option. And so you set your preferred rules, and then you can set whether you want those to be prioritized during the matchmaking or not. And if you have them set to be prioritized, it doesn't always guarantee that you get a match with those rules. Before the update, that was a lot more frustrating than it is now. I have not had to do an awful laggy 4-player battle since they came out with version 1.2. But until then, I was really frustrated with the online. Now it lags sometimes, but that's just my connection. I'm having a pretty good time with it.
Yeah, I've thus far I haven't played randoms. I've only played like I said, we had like a little Gamnesia staff tournament. So that was pretty stable. I had maybe like 2 seconds of lag, and not like 2 seconds where like the screen didn't move, but like 2 seconds where the screen was a little choppy in one of my battles, and that was about it. For the most part, it's been smooth. But
Nice.
I haven't really. I've got pretty decent internet, and I haven't really gone and fought randoms much. So, but I've seen a lot of people complaining that it's choppy, but people tend to always complain about that with Nintendo games, and I find that my experience is usually a little better than what the average internet user would tell you the experience is like. So I'll have to fight some more online battles later, and hopefully it continues to be smooth, but I haven't had too many problems yet.
I haven't tried it in handheld mode yet. I've only done docked, and I have the LAN adapter, so that I don't know how much that's coloring my perception of it. I'll have to try it wireless sometime.
It probably is. If you have the adapter, that's probably making a big improvement. I am doing it wirelessly when it's both docked and undocked, and I'm not finding any differences in the connectivity. Like, I don't think that the keeping it in the power port of the dock is actually like strengthening anything.
Yeah, I'm sure if there's any difference, it's because of the LAN adapter.
Which is honestly a good thing, because it means I can curl up on the couch or something and just play Smash in handheld mode online and not have to worry about if I don't feel like looking at the TV, if I want to like go to bed or something. It's great having this work just as well.
Yeah, and I tried some online on the 3DS version and never had a good time with it. So
Oh, really?
the fact that I'm able to have a good time at all on this one is nice. Especially since it's, hybrid. Yay.
What do we think the future of Smash Bros. Looks like? If this is the definitive game,
I think
Where does it go?
has to be what Sakurai said the alternative was, which is that they find a way to reinvent the series in some more drastic way. Because this game can live for a very long time, even if they do make another dramatically different Smash Bros. They could just step away from Smash Bros. For a while also and not make a new one because this game is so meaty. Like,
I think that it would either have to keep going as an upgraded port, kind of like every time, which would be fine by me. I mean, games are at the point where if you bring them up, if you scale them up to the next system, like, they're kind of just going to look pretty good anyway.
Well, if Nintendo was serious about their idea that their platforms in the future are just going to be basically upgrades of the previous one and not something completely different where they have to actually do the job of porting everything every time, then this game could live for I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years before they really have to make.
Well, he did, I think, say it was probably going to be another 10 years before the next Smash.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
wow.
I guess I wonder then whether it would be something like that or whether they would. I mean, I think that packing everything into one game is a great way for them to be able to say, look, you know what? Thank you for your service, Greninja, Lucario, get out of here. Like, even, and I'm not saying, like, Lucario's a great character, Lucario's a great Smash character, but there's a lot of characters that have been introduced since Melee who I've had my fun with, and if they were not there in Smash 6, I wouldn't mind. Like, and I think getting Ice Climbers back this time, well, not just Ice Climbers, but really getting everyone back this time, in a way, was really exciting, but also made me realize if they're not in the next one, I won't miss them anymore.
Yeah.
So I would be fine if they just comb it way down.
When we did our Smash Predictions episode, I said something to the effect of what I want from the next Smash Bros. Game is not for them to just keep adding more stuff. I want them to cool off. I want them to pull the roster back and focus on making the characters feel fresher and newer. And they did that to some extent here. Like, Link is way different, but I just wish they put in that level of effort and reinvention. I mean, I guess he's really not that different. He could have been even more different than he actually is. But I'd love to see them, like, take that and dial it up way further and just completely redo the roster.
Yeah, I agree.
The core rule set can be the same.
too.
Sakurai needs a long, long rest, and then when they return, yeah, it'd be nice to see them mix things up. Like, you know, it could have been cool, like you said, if Link was even more unique to his Breath of the Wild setup, or like Mario, you know, they could have incorporated his hat, they could have made him more Mario Odyssey-ish. And you know, it's fine that they didn't. The game lives up to the name of Smash Ultimate. Everybody's here, and then they, for the most part, they play the way you remember them. But if they're going to do something new, I think they should take a long time. Just rest on Smash Ultimate, release DLC. You don't got to stop after the year of character packs, right? You can do more free DLC, and eventually you could even do more paid DLC. Most fighting games, that's, you know, how they operate. They release, and then they have several years of keeping the community engaged and everything. And, you know, hopefully getting more involved, like with esports and that sort of thing. And then when you do finally come back, after Sakurai's been given a 10-year-long nap, then yeah, I'd love to see it fresh. I'd love to see, like, reimagined characters like, you know, Odyssey Mario, or by then there'll probably be a new 3D Mario. So a Mario based off the new game, or a Paper Mario instead. You know, Link mixed up a little bit too. Like, they should definitely do something to make it fresh next time around. But in the meantime, I think you can spend a long, long time milking this version of the game, because it's the Ultimate Edition. Everybody's here. Yeah, most of the stages are here. So there's no rush to make a new Smash. And when you do make a new Smash, I don't know if it should be just another, because there's not really any way to top Ultimate. So I think what you should do is do something fresh and unique.
Agreed, completely.
I also kind of hope that looking to the future, Nintendo has more IP than just the ones we've seen in Smash Bros. Up to this point. More new IP that they've given birth to on Switch, so that the roster can feel like substantially different and feel substantially fresher.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, I think, and even without 10 years of new IP, like, there's still enough new characters that they could introduce. Like, I mean, even from that fake leak, there's, like, Chorus Kids, Isaac, Mach Rider.
Yeah, true.
Like, and that's, again, there's, like, Mike Jones and Takamaru and Gino and Springman and, like, all these other characters that have been able to be a part of the conversation of Smash Bros. And haven't had their chance. You know, they've been outshined by characters like Ridley and K. Rool, who have been part of the conversation for years.
Yeah, I suppose I'm forgetting that now that we have this, like, subscription service for classic games, that means a lot of people will be exposed to classic games that they might not have actually gone after on, like, a virtual console type system where you had to pay for everything. Like, I know for sure I've been playing lots of games on the NES online service that I just would never have bought on virtual console because they're there. And if they really are, like, Reggie made the comment recently, they're done making, it sounds like they're done making those, like, NES and SNES classic consoles because they want their classic experience to all be on Switch. And if they're serious about that, and if they really bring these beloved characters that people are talking about in Smash, but that, like, current gamers, new gamers, don't really know because they've never been exposed to those games, it'd just be nice to see the subscription service and the exposure to those classic IP sort of give these characters another chance.
Right. Well, and I think it would go a long way in reinventing some of those old IP into new games. Like, a lot of them show a lot of by a lot of them I really just mean Star Tropics, Mach Rider, and
well, it's not just first party IP either, right? Like,
well,
we've
no,
seen
I mean,
that
who knows
Monster
what's going to
Boy
happen with
franchise
Crash
maybe come
Bandicoot
back.
by then?
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot, another new Spyro maybe.
Yeah,
we're in an exciting time, I think, for people reconnecting with these franchises that are beloved to us, but maybe not
7 or 8
beloved
years
to-
down the line would be for Smash Bros. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I think the current state of Smash Bros. Is pretty bright, and hopefully the future will be as well. And as much as it pains me to say this as a fan, hopefully it's a long, long, long time away, so that the series can have plenty of time to come up with new ideas, and again, so that Sakurai can get some much needed rest and or medical treatment. I'm not sure if he's hurt this time around, but he went through a pretty rough time during the Wii U version, so.
I can't believe it sounds like they picked up developing this game right after they finished with Wii U and 3DS.
Yeah, it does not sound like there was much downtime at all for the poor guy, so.
Boy.
All right, well, if that's all you guys have to say, I think we can wrap the show up.
Yeah, it's been a good hour and a half.
Yeah, it's really nice to have you guys back on. Obviously we can't, because of busy schedules, we can't do the Nintendo Week thing every week, but we've been having a lot of fun with Switched On, and it was really nice to have you guys back, so I'm sure we'll do another reunion episode sometime in the, near to mid-near future.
Cheers to that.
Well, if you guys enjoyed listening to this episode, obviously, keep listening. We've been putting out an episode about once every 2 weeks or so, just because of, busy schedules and waiting on there to be enough Nintendo news to justify an episode. But yeah, be on the lookout for the next episode. We'll post in the Facebook group like always. And then we also have the Gamnesia After Dark podcast, where we just take a sort of more laid-back approach. We talk about non-Nintendo stuff like Sony and Microsoft, but also movies, TV shows, and just generally what's going on in our lives. So if you want to get to know the Gamnesia staff a little better, you can check that out. Otherwise, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Erimgard, ERIMGARD. I don't know, do you guys want to do a Twitter sign-off too, or is that done since you're not part of Nintendo Week full-time anymore?
You can give me a shout-out at Legend of Lex on Twitter. I think we lost Colin.
All right, well,
back.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Is he back yet? No? Let me see if I can find Colin's Twitter handle here.
Good to be back! It's good to be here. I'm recording this. My internet died, so I hope that made sense with what you said, Ben. At Colin McIsaac, ColinMcIsaac.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining me, and I'm sure I'll see you again sometime soon.
Cheers.
Bye.